All right, let's dive right in. We're going to break down a really powerful strategy for real estate agents who are trying to not just survive, but actually thrive in this, pretty challenging market. The whole idea is to stop selling a property for what it is and start selling it for what it could be. And that means uncovering its hidden value for developers.
So, if you're an agent, does this feel familiar? Like your business is just stuck in neutral? The market's been tough, deals are way down, and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. Believe me, you are not alone. And the reasons why, well, they're pretty clear.
You've got these two big forces creating a perfect storm. Interest rates that are all over the place, and just no inventory. This has created what everyone's calling the lock-in effect. Homeowners with those sweet low mortgage rates, they don't want to sell. And the result for you? A historically low number of transactions. That means a lot of agents are fighting for a much, much smaller piece of the pie.
So how in the world do you break out of this cycle? Well, the key, and this is everything, is a fundamental shift in your mindset. You've got to stop looking at properties just for what they are today and start seeing them for what they could become tomorrow. This is how you take back control.
And that is the core idea right there. Instead of fighting over the tiny number of existing homes for sale, you start creating your own opportunities. You become the person who can put an actual price tag on pure potential. And you know who buys potential? Developers.
To really get how much things have changed, let's look at the old school way of doing this. We're going to use the story of Agent James Harris and his hustle back in the day. It's a perfect example of the sheer grit it used to take.
Can you even imagine this? Harris would spend like 10 hours a day just knocking on doors of homes that looked like they could be teardowns. And when he found an active construction site, he'd go buy a pizza and literally trade the pizza for an introduction to the developer. I mean, it's creative for sure, but wow, talk about inefficient.
And this is the crucial point, coming from Harris himself. In that old model, all he was really doing was bringing them a location. That's it. The developers still had to do all the heavy lifting, all the research, the due diligence, figuring out what was even possible on that piece of land. He was a finder, not really a partner. But now, look at this contrast. With the right tools and a new approach, he can walk into a meeting and create the whole story for the developer, right there on the spot. This is the game-changing shift. So let's unpack how you do it.
The secret sauce to creating that whole story is data. It's all about learning to speak the developer's language. Because when you can talk about maximizing a project's potential using their metrics, you instantly go from being just another agent to being an invaluable partner.
Okay, so let's demystify some of this lingo. It's not as complex as it sounds, I promise. First up, the buildable envelope. All this is the three-dimensional box on a property where a developer is allowed to build. That's it. Knowing this is the absolute first step to figuring out a property's true potential. Next up, setbacks. Again, super simple. This is just the buffer zone. It's how far a building has to be from the property lines or the street. Understanding setbacks is what helps you define the actual size and shape of that buildable envelope we just talked about.
So you take those simple concepts, you add in the local zoning data, height limits, info about the slope of the land, and boom, you have a complete developer pitch kit. When you walk into a meeting with all of this ready to go, you're not just bringing them a location. You're bringing them a data-backed vision. You're literally saving them weeks of work. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's walk through a case study that shows just how incredibly powerful this approach can be. This is where it gets really exciting.
So, picture this. You've got a family that's lived in this small, kind of modest, 2,000 square foot house for over 30 years. But the house is sitting on a huge 25,000 square foot lot. You can already see the disconnect, right? The little house is not telling the full story of what that property is worth. Now, if you just ran the comps like a traditional agent, looking at other 2,000 square foot homes in the neighborhood, you'd probably land on a value of about $2 million, a totally standard, by-the-book valuation. But here it is. This is the million-dollar question, or in this case, the multi-million-dollar question. The agent who got this listing didn't just look at the house. They asked a totally different, much more powerful question. What is the hidden potential of the land itself? And check this out, the stunning result. By analyzing the zoning, the buildable envelope, the setbacks, all the stuff we just talked about, the agent showed the sellers that their lot could actually support a brand new 10,000 square foot house. The land's potential value wasn't $2 million, it was over $4 million. They doubled the property's value on paper, and of course, they won the listing. No brainer.
So here's the big takeaway. Your new niche isn't really working with developers. It's becoming a master of information. This is how you create an entirely new value proposition for yourself that sets you completely apart from every other agent out there.
So instead of pouring all your time and energy into keeping up with the latest social media trend or content marketing fad, shift your focus. Start mastering the actual art of sourcing and analyzing property data. This is a real, durable skill that directly creates incredible value. It's substance over style.
And I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. In today's market, where homeowners are getting smarter and developers are always looking for an edge, this kind of knowledge is becoming absolutely essential. So you have to ask yourself, if you aren't the one showing your clients the hidden potential in their property, who will? Because you can be sure someone else is.